Hi friends! So, hello, welcome to my channel. I've been doing a lot of poofs lately, specifically like this one where it's just all in the front. I think honestly it's just because it's summer and I just want to be a comfortable human being. And so if you're offended by my hair, I'm really sorry. Nobody has left a comment being offended, but I've been offended by my hair. I just don't care. I just love having a poof in the summer and driving around and just having fun and being free in the summer and not worrying about everything. The only reason I do my makeup is to film. I literally don't put on makeup for my day-to-day life in the summer unless a little bit. So yeah, it's very hot here today. It's 90 degrees. So today, sorry, that was a random intro. Makeup came out so good today. I love when I do little light pinky looks because I feel like they always look good. So today is a collaboration with Spooky Lips and Fat Hips, or Lacie, here on YouTube. I adore her. I love her channel. I love her as a person. She is fantastic. I've been DMing her a little bit, talking to her, and she's such a cool person. She's just exactly how you would picture her, I feel like. Super nice girl. Her content is really fantastic, and her makeup skills are fantastic. We have very similar content in the sense that we both kind of post videos that are talking about consumerism, but also talking about anti-consumerism and kind of that weird mix of we still buy things but we want to be smart shoppers, which I love those videos she makes. I've watched I think every single video she's ever uploaded. I'm not 100% sure, but I would bargain that I've watched every single one. I think she's really fantastic. I'm gonna link her channel down below and you guys can go check her out, and I'll link some of my favorite videos by her because I definitely have some, and I've also definitely talked about her a bunch on this channel, and I know a lot of you guys like her too. So after you watch this video, or you can just skip this video to be quite honest, but after you watch this video, if you want to go over and check out Lacie's channel, she's gonna be talking about the same thing. What are we talking about? I never even said anything. We are talking about brands that just put out way too much. They just are constantly shoving products in my face, and I'm like, whoa, we need to chill, we need to stop, we need to take a break, and we need to just not do that. If these brands, I feel, didn't kind of overwhelm the market with products constantly, I really truly think that I would buy from them a lot more. So I just have a list on my phone, and I'm just kind of going to go through. Some of these I feel are brands that a lot of people have said this about, and it's not necessarily original, but I did try to come up with a couple that I haven't heard people really saying oh, this brand maybe does this too much. So I would like to kind of talk about that, see where we're all at. Leave down below any brands you think. I'm making this intro way too long. We're just gonna start the video. So the first brand is so obvious, and I feel when this topic comes up, this is a brand that everybody talks about, and that's Colourpop. I don't think their employees sleep. I don't think they leave the factory. I don't think they have social life. I don't think they're giving, we need to investigate if their employees are okay, because Colourpop puts out so many new products, and it's not just eyeshadow palettes. Some of these brands, they just consistently are putting out eyeshadow palettes. Colourpop is putting out pigments, lipsticks, super shock shadows, regular shadows, palettes, concealers, all of these crazy things, and I'm do you guys have fun ever? I don't understand. I just feel Colourpop is one of those brands that every single time I go on the trend mood page, because my Instagram isn't in chronological order, so I just have to seek it out pretty much every 2 days, I know that I'm gonna see something new from Colourpop. And I think the problem that they're running into is, and this is why I worry about brands that are new, such as Colourpop, because Colourpop came on the scene what, 2 years ago? I know they've been around for a couple years, but they're relatively a new brand. And I feel they came onto the scene ablazing with these cheap eyeshadows and cheap lipsticks, and they were Kylie Cosmetics and all of this. And I feel they came on super hot, but there's only so much you can actually do as a brand. So when you're putting stuff out so quickly, and this is true for all of these brands, I think, when you're putting stuff out like that so quickly and in such rapid pace, you can't kind of recycle color theories as you could if you were a brand that put out maybe a warm tone eyeshadow palette 3 years ago and now wants to put out another one. Does that make sense? I just feel Colourpop is gonna be one of those brands, similar I almost feel to Makeup Geek. It's gonna be one of those brands that a lot of influencers talked about, and it's kind of gonna fade over time. I don't know if Colourpop is gonna continue to be a super strong force in the beauty community, and I really just feel the only reason for that is because they're great. Their quality is great. Everything they do is great. They're just putting out too much, and I just kind of don't care anymore. Like, I'm just kind of over their products, and just because there's too much of it. Like, there's just too much. The next one I want to talk about is Juvia's Place. And I feel like if you ever say anything bad about Juvia's Place on the internet you're canceled. It's over. I don't want to be canceled, so don't cancel me. I love Juvia's Place. I have 5. I'll show you. I very obviously really like Juvia's Place and buy a lot of their stuff. And love, first of all, like, are you kidding with this packaging? Like, this is absolutely gorgeous. Anybody could use these shades, I feel. Super, super inclusive brand, and I love that. But I will say, I truly think, man, the packaging on this is so, like, are you kidding? I'm sorry. I know we're talking about, but, like, are you kidding? This is so unique. I love Juvia's Place. Anyway, I do love it, but I worry because I think they're running into the issue that I feel like Violet Voss runs into, but Violet Voss doesn't put out palettes as much as they do, where there's only so many eyeshadow palettes you can make. And I almost worry with the newest one they came out with, it's like the golden, I'll put a picture of it, it's like a golden palette. I worry that with that new palette, I feel like they're kind of repeating similar shades that are in other palettes already. And the thing about Juvia's Place is that these are kind of like cult items. Like, I feel like people collect these palettes. I feel like a lot of people have every single one that comes out because they're very affordable, and there's a lot of times there's codes you can use. So they're super affordable, there's codes you can use, and it's like the palettes are cool and awesome, but you can only come out with so many. So I'm worried that they're kind of coming out with them a little too quickly at this point, where if they split them, I feel like once every month Juvia's Place has a new palette, to the point where I don't even know all the palettes they have. I used to be able to, like, name every palette, and I can't do that anymore. And I feel like they're just coming out in, like, once a month, and there's only so much you can do. Like, that's kind of the biggest issue with Juvia's Place, is palettes are one of those things. I kind of wish they would branch out and do maybe, like, blushes, or I know they just came out with blush palettes, but, like, actual single blushes or highlighters, or I kind of wish Juvia's Place as a brand would start expanding instead of just consistently putting out eyeshadow palettes every month. But I do love the brand. I don't want you guys to think I'm, like, trash talking it. I think it's honestly one of the best brands out there to support. It's just like, I worry that they're gonna kind of be burnt out soon because they can only produce so many palettes. And they've produced quite a few. I have 4, and that's not even, like, half of the palettes they have out. So, okay, the next is Kylie Cosmetics. I feel like this is such an obvious one, but also more with her, it's just the collabs. So we have the Coco collab, which was the first one with Chloe. We have the Kim K lip set. Now the Court collab, which was huge, and now the Momager that just came out. All she really has left is, like, Kendall or Caitlyn. I feel like with Kylie Cosmetics, she doesn't give the product she puts out enough time to shine. Does this make sense? I truly feel like she like puts them out and everything, and they have like a week before she comes out with another release. The Court collection, I'm pretty sure that only had like 2 weeks to kind of like have its own thing, and then they bombed us with the Momager collection. She didn't even give me a chance to enjoy the Courtney collection and be like, oh, look at these quads and these lipsticks, before she like bombarded me with the Momager collection. And to me, it's just like, if you're gonna come out with this many cohesive collections, why not do like 4 a year, like spring, fall, summer? She does like birthday, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, Memorial Day. Like, she's doing all these crazy releases, and I just wish she would kind of slow down, because the collections she's putting out, especially the Court collection and the Chris Cosmetics collection, both of those are really, really interesting and cool things, and they have really, especially the quads and the Court collection, like that's really cool and interesting and like a fun idea to do, but I just feel like nobody had time to breathe before we were seeing the next thing and it was on to the next thing. She is like the best example of a brand just like rapidly releasing new things so that way it like flashes by you and you forget about it. And I feel like that's not good business. She must be doing well, because like she's like gone away to like $1 billion business, so it's got to be working for her. But for me, it doesn't make me want to buy any of her products, because it's just like all happened so fast. I'm just like over it. Next. Okay, the next two I feel like I have to group together because they have kind of a similar problem. Tarte Cosmetics and Urban Decay, I feel like are two of the most popular like prestige brand in stores that are the biggest offenders of this. Urban Decay is more of like collections, but very small collections. Like they just had the Disco Queen collection drop that was just 2 purple highlighters, and that was it. And then they have like the Beach collection, that's their newest thing, which by the way, those bronzers are super, super old. And I'm pretty sure I have a conspiracy theory, they're just leftover stock they couldn't sell, because I had one of those bronzers like 2 years ago and I sold it because I hated it. Moving on, that's a different video. But I feel like Urban Decay just constantly is coming out with like new collections that are like, they make a very big deal for like probably 3 or 4 weeks, and then it's the next big collection. And none of these collections are doing super well, because all of them, the past 4, have ended up in the sale section of Sephora, which a lot of people said that like that doesn't mean they're not doing well. I disagree. You don't put a best-selling product or a product that's doing well on sale, because why would you? If people were buying it, it just like, I made a video about it a while back and people were like, well, you don't know, just because it's on sale and it's doing bad. And I was like, no, that's typically what that means when it goes on sale like 2 weeks after it comes out. That's the other thing too. They're going on sale like 2 weeks after they come out. So it's obvious that like their initial response was not what they wanted. Yeah, Urban Decay's having a lot of issues right now, I feel like. I feel like they're going down. It's really sad because I feel like they're a good brand. I just haven't liked anything from them lately, to be quite honest. And they're also coming out with random new additions to like their like I was on Sephora and I was like, they came out with a shapeshifter powder. Like they don't really promote their new. Tarte does the same thing. Tarte just comes out with all of these like random little like, don't be afraid to dazzle, daydream and dream on palettes that are, and it's like, where did you come from? Why are you here? And they also have so many lines, like so many actual collective lines that they keep adding to, and it's really confusing. So they have like their Tartlet, their Tartiest, Rainforest of the Sea, Amazonian Clay, Mermaids, Unicorns. They have all of these different types of collections going on that they keep adding to, that it's almost too much to keep. I'm like, is this part of the Tartiest or the Tartlet? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just a lot to keep up with. When you go into Sephora, I don't know if it's other Sephoras are like this, but my Sephora, my Tarte has like 2 different sections because they can't fit all, and it doesn't look cohesive either. It looks like kind of a mess. It looks like they don't know if they want to be in the Amazon or if they want to be mermaids or at a festival. Like, Tarte doesn't know what it's doing. And I think the reason that makes it, to me, seem like a little bit more of an amateur brand is because when you look at a brand like Anastasia, even just talking about displays, like if I buy from all of these brands, so this doesn't like really super affect everything, it's just more advice. If you look at a brand like Anastasia's display, everything is very cohesive. Everything is like same packaging, similar emblem, everything has the emblem, their palettes are very cohesive, everything about that, and they spread it out. I'm not constantly bombarded. When something comes out from Anastasia, I am genuinely excited because I'm like, oh, they never do it. I remember after Modern Renaissance, I waited like a year for a new palette to come out, and it was so, I was like, and it was Subculture, so like whatever, but we're not talking about that. But I waited and I was very excited when I bought the Subculture because I was like, so the hype was building and building. And Tarte and Urban Decay, I look at some of their palettes and I'm like, well, they'll come out something similar like next week, so why even bother buying this? Like, and all of their stuff is so repetitive and weird and random. I'm just kind of over Tarte and Urban Decay at the moment with how much they are putting out and oversaturating the market. And you would almost think like they would know kind of how bad that is for your brand, but I guess it's, I don't know, it seems to be doing well, except for Urban Decay because they're constantly on sale. Okay, so let's talk about Beauty Blender as a brand real quick. This is what I never hear people talking about. People have just accepted that we're buying $20 sponges. Again, that's a different video, but like we've accepted that now. I have 2 of them. I've accepted it. But here's the thing, like here's the problem, is that Beauty Blender needs to realize there are only so many sponges you can come out with. So many, they're like, now you can buy it in blue and purple and marbled and it's cheetah print and like all, that would be so funny if they do like an animal, watch, they're gonna do like an animal collection and everything's gonna be zebra print, watch. I'm clocking it now. There's only so much you can do with a sponge. And I think Beauty Blender just like needs to find another route to go down, as like maybe start making like brushes or something else, because I'm really sick of just seeing the same exact sponge in like cobalt blue. That's the newest one. And then it was green, and before that it was pink. And I'm just really over Beauty Blender at this point. I'm bored with everything they're putting out with, and I feel like it's like, I wish instead of continually coming out with the same sponge in a different color that's super overpriced, I wish they would come out, they just came out with a super innovative thing. It's allegedly like a dry shampoo for your sponges. And I think that's really cool. I think they should definitely be moving in that direction, because that's good. I'm really glad that they're moving in that. I have hope for them. But right now, if you just keep coming out with the same sponge over and over and over and over again in a different color, I know some crazy rich people like to collect them, but I'm not one of those people. I have my like $7 Real Technique sponges and they work just fine. Thank you very much. I just feel like Beauty Blender needs to do something different instead of just keep putting, it's the same thing with the eyeshadow palettes, but also like just stop. Chill. Okay, the final two things I want to talk about are skincare brands. And this could be said for a lot of skincare brands, but I specifically picked Glam Glow and Drunk Elephant. And the reason for that is because I think there are brands that are not necessarily out of the price range of the average consumer, such as something like Sunday Riley or La Mer, but they are also not something that you can just like go and get on a whim. Like typically, especially for me being like a college student, I would have to save up if I really wanted one of the like Drunk Elephant serums. Like I would have to put aside money every week to be able to go in and buy that. And the problem is, and same thing with Glam Glow. If I want to buy one of their masks, they're like $70. Like I can't just go in on a whim and like treat myself and like buy it. Like it's something I have to think about and save up for, because that's a big purchase. That's a lot of money. And my problem with them is if I'm going to do that, right? So I see a new serum from Drunk Elephant and I'm like, okay, I'm going to save up the money to get that. This has never happened, by the way. I've never spent that much on skincare. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to save up my money to get that. That sounds fantastic. And then next week they have a brand new serum that's now $120. And that's the other thing too, the pricing with all of the things they're putting out for the amount they're putting out. Tarte is super guilty of this too. It's all very inconsistent with the pricing. Like one thing is like $65 and the next is like $118. And you're like, why? What's the difference? Especially with like the creams. And I don't understand the difference between creams. Regardless, if you're a skincare brand, I think you should be putting out maybe like one or two things every like 3 to 4 months. Because if you're that expensive, people need time to like watch reviews, especially with skincare, because it takes like a month and a half for someone to properly test skincare and then give a review on it. So I need people to give me reviews. I need to research it. I need to make sure I'm not allergic to it. Maybe I get a sample. And by the time I do all of that, you've come out with something new that you're promoting even more and you're like forgetting about the other thing. I feel like with skincare, you have to be very, very particular in how you do it, because it takes so long to properly test out that it's like you can't just throw it aside after like 2 weeks like you can sometimes with how people do it with makeup. But that's just my thoughts. I don't know. I hope you guys like this video. Please go check out Lacie's channel, Spooky Lips and Fat Hips. I absolutely love her. I think she's absolutely fantastic. I hope we do more collabs soon and everything, because she is so fun. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I've been noticing that people are not necessarily getting notifications for my videos super. I hate to do this because I don't ever want to blame YouTube for me not getting views, because like you guys could just not be clicking and like that's totally fine. But I have noticed, and people have told me they have not been getting like subscription. I've not been showing up in their subscription boxes, or they're not getting a notification. And I know YouTube is all sorts of crazy right now. So I am going to start talking more about my social medias, my other ones. If you want to follow me on Twitter especially, that is the big one. I always post a link when I upload, and I always like update you guys when stuff is going on. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, that would be fantastic. You can follow me on Instagram and everything else too, but Twitter's the one I'm definitely the most active on. And that way, if you want to see one of my videos when it's uploaded and you want to know when I upload, I always post a link on Twitter. So yeah, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're here watching me. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!